when we see each other is expanding our outlook to include not just BIPOC, queer, trans, non-binary musicians, but also to discussing work by BIPOC, queer, trans, non-binary authors. So I invited a couple of my friends I know from writing workshops for BIPOC poets organized by Kavi Kanam to join me. This is volume 3 of the book club where we venture down this path. And I'm not doing it alone. I invited some really thoughtful, critically thinking friends who are writers themselves to join in on this journey. In this episode, I'm joined with Christopher Silverberg and Iman King Carter, both writers I met at Kavi Kanam workshop, and we'll be discussing the genre-bending collection Here in the Middle of Nowhere by author Anastacia-Reneé. Happy spring and welcome, you guys. Please just go ahead and introduce yourself, say what your craft is, say what you do, and just let everyone know a little bit about yourself.
My name is Chris. I am a poet, and I also help people make film and television. One day I'm going to actually introduce myself as a filmmaker, but we're not there yet. I don't know if that's based on we're not there yet on confidence or we're not there yet on work. It's one or the other. But yes, that's me. I also post too much on social media.
Hey, I am Iman Carter. Pronouns they, them. I am an artist. I'm a poet. Everything stands on poetry, but I'm also a photographer, an actor, a model.
Yes, I love it. And how are you guys doing? I know this is like a really tricky question to ask these days. How are you doing? Well, at least I feel like when I'm asked that question, I'm just like, are you sure you want that answer? Do you really want that answer? But I honestly do want that answer from you guys. Since it's been so long since I've seen you all. Well, actually, Iman and I worked on something with Anastacia.
But that was super dope to be able to work with you and to be able to work with A, and now to be reading their book and talking about it. And then actually, Chris and I are in a Kavi Kanam workshop right now.
Oh my God, are you guys in the one with the madness? Is it the one with the madness?
Yes, madness. It is. Yes.
Oh my God.
With
yes.
Karma Mayette, and we're doing it's madness, rememory, poems of rememory.
Oh my God, how's it going?
It's going really great. I mean, it ties into the book, I feel like, in a lot of ways.
Really? Okay, so we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Awesome. What about you, Chris? How are things?
Things are good, yeah. As you were saying, I was like, oh yeah, like I should like think about the ways that things are tough because, America or whatever. But honestly, I was super stressed because I didn't have a job for a minute, and now I have a job and it's good. So
awesome.
And it keeps going longer and longer. Like it's supposed to only be so that has my anxiety down, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I'm feeling good compared to how I was feeling like a month and a half ago, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. No, I hear you. I totally hear you. All right, so let's jump into the book. Here in the Middle of Nowhere by Anastacia-Reneé. I wanted to just say this was just like this was like a ride that I've never experienced before in my entire life.
That's facts.
Like seriously, I was just like, what? I was like completely like, whoa. Like, in another like realm, in several different realms of thinking and galaxies and stars and the whole everything, just about everything. And what I loved about it too is just kind of like it paid homage to Lucille Clifton and Audre Lorde, and the fact that the gods in the book are Lucille's. I was just like, yeah, oh my God, yes, this is mwah. That's like mwah, it's just so yeah, I can go on. But I want you all's your thoughts on this, your first impression on the book itself. And of course we will have a chance to discuss with Anastacia on Thursday. So yeah, go for it. How about you, Iman?
Yeah, this was a ride, a fun one. Definitely one where I was trusting A the whole way through.
Right.
And I think it begged that.
Yeah.
Uh, because yeah, there were definitely moments where I'm like, I have no idea where I am. But
Yes.
yeah, I'm here in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Um, I love poets and storytellers and artists who are able to create a world um, and throw us in it as readers or viewers. And this really felt like that Anastacia really took her time building this world, or like this world with
Mhm.
rings around it, and even in some ways, like a language. I would almost say like it's its own syntax, its own
Yes.
yeah. Um, where yeah, the further you go, the more you learn and understand what's happening. Uh,
Right.
which I thought was just really cool, and the fact that I was able to tie it back to now,
Mhm.
and I could see uh, a million different Black women
Mhm.
that I know personally in these pages,
Mhm.
which I thought was
Mhm.
really dope. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. And the whole language thing, it was just like it's a new language, honestly. It's definitely a new language. And it's not even stuck in like syntax or or any of the formalities of a language itself. It's in You can even see it in the fact that the table of contents is basically uh it's like a picture of a cut off tree, and then it's all linked together. Unless I'm making this up, I'm making I'm making this up to make it make sense to me. But I was just taken aback by that first introduction, that first step into this realm. And I was just like, "Wow, this is intense. What is this?" And through reading it, I realized that this is another galaxy. This is another universe.
Mhm.
But anyway, all that to say, yes, I totally agree with you about the language, and we'll totally get to that. But Chris, I wanted to hear your first impressions.
Um, I don't know. I think it's probably similar to Iman. Like it was really a ride. I was very like engaged with the different stylistic devices, but also I just straight up need to read it. I need to read the whole book again from beginning to end, especially having read it once. And it was almost um like also interestingly, right? I thought it was a book of prose, which it is, but like it's a book of prose written by a poet. And with the poet's intentions and with the poet's techniques, right? So I had got the book on my Kindle because I was like, "It's whatever," and then as soon as I realized like it was gonna be all line breaks and whatever, I bought it. I bought the actual physical book. But what was interesting was like looking at it on the Kindle,
Mhm.
like it was like almost everything was its own like chapter or section.
Yes.
And also, like, you could search through it. So I feel like I read it once on the page, so I understand the intention of how it's laid out. And now I want to read it once on the Kindle so that, like, when somebody's name pops up, I can just, like, read through all the different places their name pops up. Like, it's a very
Ah,
non-linear book to me.
right.
where in a lot of ways, like we learn the book's language and the book's characters and relationships, but not in like not like in a linear way. You know, it's like,
Right.
oh, then you get to this one, and then you like jump back and you realize, oh, okay, so that's what that means, and this person was like doing this,
Yeah.
and it was very instructive in that way. But also, um, the further I got into it, the more that I really understood that it was like creating this world where a series of flash fiction, prose poem characters could like have their moments. And sometimes it just wasn't a linear book. It wasn't like this
No.
started here and then this happened and this happened, this happened. It was
Right.
just like, no, here's all the different growth and change and events and people, and maybe you'll see them one time and maybe they'll have a little bit more story um that just happened in this universe,
Yeah.
as opposed to a linear narrative. And I thought that was a really cool way to organize a book, and it also just opened up so many possibilities for me, which I probably like talk about more in terms of like also other books by poets that are like kind of bringing the freedom of poetry into a different format. But I was just
Mhm.
like, oh, I could write a book any way I want. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like a
Exactly.
boo 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 type narrative or a collection of unrelated poems. It could be something that's neither of those, well, both, but
Right.
sometimes it's one, sometimes it's other. So yeah, that was really inspirational. Just like, oh, a book can be whatever you
Yeah.
want it to be, with in between a cover and with your name on it, or not. Like I also want this book to be like a wiki. I want the book to be a
Right.
wiki, and it's like,
Mhm.
here's the story of the one character. Here's the story of Essie, and all the stuff that connects to Essie. And also, Essie
Yes.
is this type of person, but also this Essie is in this universe. And here's all the stuff that
Yes.
happens in this universe. Like I just want to
As
click
right.
through
Right.
all the connections.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
No.
was long.
No, that was brilliant. I love it. So yeah, like coming back to what you were saying about it not being non-linear. Sorry. I'm excited. So when I get excited, I kind of stutter. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, coming back to that, and I feel like it's totally intentional. One, because it kind of speaks to like living itself. When you're on the journey of life, it's definitely non-linear. When you're on the path of like living, it's definitely something that is taking on many different roads, taking on many different sort of universes. Yeah, it's just like so, and it also speaks to the fact that I feel like the theme around God and Lucille's being goddesses, and then also these deities as well, is a part of that too, because it's just like it made me think about, and I'm not really that religious. I'm kind of on the latter end of being an agnostic, more closer to being an atheist. But it made me really question like my thoughts around God and what God is, like what I've learned about what God is and who is God, and it's that sort of like it's thinking about it in terms of not in a binary set of way. It's more like expansive. It's more like it's filled with multitudes, and it's kind of like us having multitudes ourselves. Um, and the other thing too that I wanted to say, this was totally mind bending for me. Like, I really felt like I was out of my comfort zone, of course, and it was not a bad thing. It was just kind of like, yeah, aha, aha, look at this. And whoa, this is magic, so yeah, so totally relate to what you were saying, Chris. And around that. And I feel like a good example of what I'm trying to get at is on page 77. where it says, if each one is her own altar, let her praise herself freely and use her own systems, handed down as the goal she feeds on. Let the shrine be covered in mirrors, her own face, a delight. Let the honey catch every lava and fly buzzing around her theories. Fill the vases with white flowers, each one out-scenting the next. Let the heart of the altar protrude, stuck out to display. She is the one and only chosen one. That is, oh man, dude. Like, seriously? Like, oh my God. Like, wow. And there's so many gems in this. It's just unbelievable. But anyway, I don't want to dominate, and I want to hear from you guys. Like, what are some of the themes that came through to you that was like, wow, this is massive. How about you, Iman?
Some of what you were saying about gods and thinking about my relationship to spirituality. I'm someone who likes to be as connected to my ancestors as possible. So seeing like Lucille Clifton as a god was in my comfort zone. But then there were these moments where, yeah, it was really interesting. I think about, let's see, page 95, creation story. It's this idea of a creation story, starting with I was born from the vagina, retrograde volcano, and breastfed off the land of Oz, Bloody Mary, and this like repetition of Bloody Mary, and that being the creation. Um, so yeah, like repetition works so well, and um, yeah, it was really cool too about going back to what Chris was saying about it being non-linear, like getting these like small silhouette glimpses of characters from other people or just in general, and then hearing the character speak. Um, I would have to look further, but the first thing I thought of with that was Luther and this idea that uh, Luther is around and he's spoken of. I think Essie brings him up and asks Laverne to care for him, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not mistaken,
Yes.
or the other way around.
Yes, no, she did ask for that. Like, she sent her. It was when Laverne was saying to Essie that she thinks. Oh, wait. It was when Laverne was saying she can, she didn't want to pursue anything more with her because she felt like um Luther could take care of her and basically provide her with the things that she desires. I'm looking for it right now, honestly, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So here we go. Essie and Laverne's story. We get a
Yeah.
lot of it on page 48, which we'll get into them. Um, but yeah, so I think so we have as told by Essie. So we have Essie saying, check on my brother Luther. And if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, and this is one of those times I wish I had an ebook. Um, I don't think we'd heard about Luther before then. And it's like, check on
No.
my brother Luther. And then Luther comes
Yeah.
up again as like being angry or something. And then finally we hear as told by Luther,
Right.
which was really cool. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was really fun because that's also kind of how you meet people
Yeah.
in real life. So it was cool
Yeah.
to do that in a book. And
In real life, but also particularly in the Black community,
yeah, it's like, so and
you know?
so, so and so, and then you finally meet so
Right.
and so,
Right.
and you get to
Exactly.
have your own, and so and so speaks. Yeah, this is very much that. Um, which, yeah, I thought that was really cool. This is very, yeah, like we were saying, in our language, in our culture. So yeah, I really love that. And I'm gonna always find all the love stories and fall in love with all the love stories and anything I read. I do not care.
Yes. Yes.
So when Essie said to Laverne,
Mhm.
I will write about you, and I will never stop thinking about you. Maybe our
Yeah.
paths will cross in another lifetime. May the spirit of Lucille protect and keep you. All my love, Laverne. Yeah, I was
Mm.
in.
Yes.
I was in. And I think that was
Yes.
also a moment where I was like, okay, there's a fiction element
Mhm.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that love story.
Yeah. Even though it was sad,
Yeah, although
you know,
brief.
it's just like you can hear the history. Even though we didn't get all of the history, you can hear it in the language. You can hear it like just spoken. Like we didn't actually have to see, we didn't actually have to be witnesses there for that particular, for all of the things that they've been through together. We actually, the way that the way that it's been described and shown, makes it, it's so rich. It just makes us even, it makes us imagine on our own what it was, what it meant.
And who doesn't love a love story that's told like through love letters?
Yes.
It just really
Yes.
gets to you. So I
Right,
really
and who
enjoyed that.
writes love letters now
You know?
nowadays? Exactly.
So
Like,
I really enjoyed
seriously.
that.
What about you, Chris? What are some of the themes that you really enjoyed and, that were like, "Aha, yeah."
Well, if I can, I kind of want to just pick up kind of where we left off talking about Essie and Laverne and Luther. I was realizing as we were talking that like we hear about Luther in this very um in the workshop that me and Iman are taking is we talk a lot about hearsay, and we get this hearsay version of we hear about Luther, and then we hear a little bit about Luther's personality, and then we see Luther, and it's not nothing in the book. Nothing in the book is regular, but we get a little bit of like a dramatic monologue from Luther that feels like it could be in many ways of our world, of our reality. It has its own language and style. If we're gonna be, that's on page 52. And it
52.
feels, it's not it has its magical and it's sci-fi and it's out of this world, but it's pretty recognizable as something that would happen in our real, you know, in the plane of existence that we perceive. Okay. But then like all of a sudden we come out of that into like Luther being born from a toaster and like rocked by Psy women. But and I realized, so I was like, oh, it's like a pattern. But then I realized that Essie also goes through almost the same pattern, not in the same order. But first
Mhm.
we meet Essie, and you know what? Let's continue with the page numbers because
Yeah.
it's helpful to orient in this
Mm.
book.
Mhm.
Um, First we meet Essie as like her man done her wrong, and Lucille too had to like beat his ass, like via possession,
Yes, yes.
on page 43, um, and murder him,
Yeah. Yeah.
on page 43. And then we get this like Afrofuturist dystopia story of Essie. And then we get this like love story, which again which is in that other register where it feels closer to our world, you know? And so
Right.
like there's this fantasy register, there's this like sci-fi register, there's this closer to our world register, and they all get mixed up, but I feel like so many of the character stories or even the themes, specific characters but also themes roll through all three of those modes in
Mhm.
different ratios and combinations and like weaving.
Right.
And I thought that was so interesting. It's almost in some ways like almost like a deconstruction of a speculative fiction, it's like it's like if you're playing a video game and the video game has like, here's the magic system, and here's like the politics system, and here's like
Mhm.
the I don't know, battle system, right? And here's the how you can befriend other characters system, right? It's like the different systems of a speculative fiction world kind of get their own focused moments, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
It's not like in a regular speculative fiction, like you kind of see a little bit about the relationships between the characters, and then like you get a little bit of a lore drop, and you get a little bit of a like, this is how religion works.
Mhm.
But here it's like you get each of those things become like different lenses through which you see the same characters almost. It's not like how do
Yes.
these different systems interact, although it is, but it's also
Right.
like, what if we zeroed in on what is Ethie in like sci-fi apocalypse universe?
Right.
What
Yeah.
is Luther? Also, another thing we have to get back to is Luther and Luther Senior, because like I went up for Luther. I was so glad that you mentioned him, Emma, because like I did have a moment of being like, am I being such a man about this Black woman book that I like keyed on to Luther? But I wasn't the first person to bring him up, so I'm good. But Luther and Luther Senior sent me. Luther Senior was very, very realistic and recognizable. I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I know that."
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, and, like, incredible. It could be so recognizable, but also, you know, like, toasters are giving up their babies to cyborgs.
Right. Right. Oh my god. Which reminds me, so this book completely reminds me of the book, An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon, and, um and I don't know if that's, like, me just, uh, not knowing what n that's maybe it's just me trying to search for something, that is similar in context and similar in the realm of the things that is happening. Maybe it's me searching for answers. Um, but it did remind me of that book, and I think the reason that it did is because of one of the at one point in Here in the Middle of Nowhere, it describes a scene where basically it's a spaceship that they're living on. And basically everything is in space, honestly, I feel like. They're on the mothership, they're on the motherboard. And and the thing about an unkindness of ghosts is or maybe, or maybe it's Earth that is the spaceship. I don't know. But it made me think about that, or where community is like being on a spaceship as well. Um, but anyway, and Unkindness of Ghosts uses a generation ship to explore themes of oppression, social injustice, and identity. And the protagonist Aster in An Unkindness of Ghosts is like you could say she's kind of like she could be one of the Lucille's in the middle of nowhere, here in the middle of nowhere, honestly. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with that book, An Unkindness of Ghosts, but it totally reminded me of that, and I really want to go back and actually read both of these together and see, if I'm actually right. But anyway, yes. So let's keep it on track. Any other areas like for me, there were certain areas that just really stuck out for me and stayed with me for a long time, and I had to reread over and over again. Did you all have any moments like that, Iman?
Yeah, I definitely had a couple of those moments. The one that you read, I read that one out loud a few times. Um, there were a couple, like, poems that really hit me. Um, Tell It, The Negro as an Atlas on page 75, that one got me. I really had to I read that one a few times. Um, yeah, that was a good one. Also, yeah, the poetry in here, Sharp on 65. Oh my god. Sharp is really one of them ones.
Right.
Um, yeah, I can actually read that one. We can go ahead and read that one.
Yes,
Sharp,
please do. Go ahead.
uh, And I also thought it was really interesting how sharp before that, we were talking about vampires. And there's one of those moments where I'm like, why are we talking about vampires? Where did they come from? And then Sharp, the poem came, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
here we are. All right, so
Yeah.
Sharp, Anastacia-Reneé. We grew fangs in the absence of hugs. Every opportunity to touch grew a fang. Every opportunity to talk grew a fang. Every opportunity to come together grew a fang until we were all covered in fangs. And that's when the fangs began to grow beneath our skin. And before we knew it, we adapted to distancing and ripping every opportunity for anything which involved contact to shreds. So much time has passed that most people don't know what it's like without fangs, what it's like to hug my sister around her neck and kiss her on the cheek without drawing blood.
Yeah. I mean, wow. Just wow. You know?
Yeah.
Man, wow. Like, and it also speaks to just going back to the God thing, that there are parts of us that is dark, and that's a part of who we are. Um, and I'm not, saying that we should just, you know, be terrible people or whatever, but but the fact is, it's just like there are things that that's a part of like you know, without darkness, we won't see the stars. So it kind of goes back to that. Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that's really powerful. That poem was well, all of this is really powerful.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
I think just like the level of loving understanding in
yeah,
this of why fangs grow, why people
right,
have these sharp parts of themselves.
right, right.
Yeah.
Chris, did you have something to say?
Um, yeah. Yeah, just real quick about Sharp. Yeah. I just thought again, I'm just like so invested in the devices. Clearly I want to write like a book that is poems, but also flash fiction, but also
Mm-hmm.
anything
Right.
that it wants to be, right? But
Yeah.
I just thought it was such a good example of how the poetry, how the things that were more recognizable as poetry interacted with the stuff that was more recognizable as world building or as dramatic monologue or as whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it was like on the page before, on page 64, again, we get hearsay. We get this little
Mm.
like, who I very much took to be like a little white girl, like it was very much Ariana Grande. She's called Glinda, I think.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Yes.
here's Ariana Grande talking about how, like, ooh, I wish I could be a cool black vampire girl, like the black vampire girls. Um, and then we get this hearsay about like kind of setting the scene of what life is like for the black vampire girls, and then we get a poem that doesn't explain the situation. It doesn't even give us
Mm.
an instance of the situation. It's like, okay, so now that we've set up this world where there are black vampire girls, what does that mean? Or what is some of the emotional truth of this situation that's been set up? And I just thought that was it's such a great way to organize a story to where
Yeah.
it doesn't, not every piece has to give you a new piece of the plot. Sometimes it's giving you a new piece of the emotion, but also not every piece needs to give you a new piece of the emotion. Sometimes it's just giving, like, I'm explaining to you, this is how this universe works. And of course, the
Right.
language will be beautiful and you will feel something because the language is beautiful.
Right.
But this is sometimes, very often, I felt like it was just the narrative, like, okay, so I'm just breaking down for you, like, this is how this world works. And it's not necessarily going to be, again, because it's in a poetic tone or it's using the resources of poetry. So it doesn't just feel like, here's some boring exposition. But then that's another thing that, like, this book can do that other books can't do. Like, most world building, you can't just come out and explain the world because it's boring to do that in prose. But if you do
Right.
that in heightened prose that uses some of the tools of poetry, it's like, oh, this is like a poem that's explaining this universe to me. So I'm not like,
Yeah.
ugh, why are you just giving me exposition? Like, it's wow. Like, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, just impressed by how all the different devices are deployed. But
Yeah. The other thing that I realized that was happening in this book was in terms of like the gods and then also the idea of death and rebirth, I think. That was another theme that I recognized that was happening in the book. Was that death and rebirth was kind of like time travel. I felt like that was kinda like time traveling, like, seriously, when I discovered that, because I read the book twice. I read it, like, 2 times, and I was just like, "Oh my god," like, when I realized that, I was like, "Oh my god, yes, that totally makes sense." And particularly on page 111, where it talks about, Susanna and the fact that she and her husband had died, and this has happened to them, several lifetimes they've spent with each other. So basically they've like seen each other transition through death and then rebirth and then met each other again. And so, like, that was just so beautiful, I felt like, even though it was sorrowful, the way that she was describing it, like, losing him again, he's always the first one to transition, and her having to deal with that, and then the fact that now that they in this lifetime, they actually have kids together, and the kids have never experienced that sort of, like, loss. I felt like that was just brilliant, you know what I mean? I don't know, how did you all feel about that? And this was, like, the only time that we heard about Susanna, like, um, I mean, I didn't find her anywhere else in the book, and that was the last time, but I felt like that was kind of like a representation of the essence of what the book is bringing across around, um, time traveling and, God and, multitudes and universe, all of that stuff. But anyway, how did you all feel about that?
For me, yeah, it was a really beautiful entry into talking about grief.
Mhm.
Uh, because then right after that, we get into a poem. Everybody gets a solo in the choir of grief. And yeah, I thought that was just really beautiful at how we see love going through, what is this, 4 lifetimes with Susanna. Um, and not each lifetime, the grief is different. And I thought that was really beautiful. And grief is definitely a theme in the book that I also appreciated the way A spoke about it. It was really dope. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the idea of reinventing, change something so much that it appears to be entirely new.
Yeah. And isn't that cool too? These like random little definitions of words on
Mhm.
pages. Um, I was like, I don't know what's happening, but it feels like it's supposed to be here.
Right. Yeah. No.
Um, so that was cool. And even that, like reinvent coming right before grief, uh,
Mhm.
is such a great choice. Because it could be, I don't know, for me, sometimes grief is a lot of revisiting, not necessarily reinventing.
Yeah.
So even that was the definition that came before it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's
um,
so beautiful. Go for it.
that reinvent really got me because I think the first reinvent definition we get is on page 21. And it's like, I know what it feels like to be transplanted, to be repotted in the middle of nowhere, trying to recall something bigger. You can't forget only what was it. Reinvent, change something so much it appears to be entirely new. And to me, it was, I don't know if I'm like going overboard, but like also I'm not because everything is about slavery. That gave me slavery. That very much gave me like we as Black
Mhm.
people being
Mhm.
completely reinvented by the fact of the Middle Passage.
Right.
And so for me, that was a very negative reinvention, but it
Right.
Mhm.
almost feel like, again, like, cause there is no time is so circular in this book. it felt like that was almost a setup for the idea of what reinvention could become. Like reinvention is also because like the last line of Susanna's monologue is, I am more than willing to do whatever it takes to reinvent the narrative, in parentheses here. And so the idea, like reinvent can be something terrible, but reinvent could also be, I want to have a new, I want to change the story of always losing the love of my life over and over and over,
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so that did a
Yeah.
lot for me. When I saw that reinvent again, I was like, yeah.
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 Totally.
She reinvented reinvent. Look at that.
Yes. Oh my
Mhm.
God.
Yeah.
And just to like echo what you said, Chris, about that line to be repotted, I totally highlighted that and had exclamation marks right next to it.
Yeah.
So,
And that brings me to like all of the callbacks in this book.
mhm,
That made it all feel like this is a one big poem. But like even what you guys are just saying about the repotted, because I highlighted the hell out of that section.
mhm,
And then we go to the grief section, and
mhm.
grief is a compost bucket.
Yes.
And
I
it's
know.
like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
This was fun to read. And like you were saying before, Chris, there were a lot of moments of like, am I doing this right? Do I
Right.
know what's happening? But totally do. We feel it. I know I felt a lot of these in my bones. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very appreciative of A's effort to just like go for it.
Yeah, unabashing and like just yeah.
Yeah.
You
Just
know,
throw us in it, you know?
yeah, it's almost like, it's just like, "Hey, this is it."
Yeah. Really from the first page, like, from that family
Mhm.
tree, you're like, "Oh, this is
Mhm.
not a normal family tree. We are
Right.
inside the tree."
Right. Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, this is about to get real wicked, and what a ride. Yeah.
Right. Like also when, the definition for resurrection, the act of rising from the dead and returning to life. And then also that on page 9, like when in the beginning, gurgling consciousness of memory stained by prepositional amnesia. Like, really? Really? Really?
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
And that was another callback, this was the first one, the I know what
Mhm.
it feels like to be separate from your genesis, and
Yes.
back to that, I know what it feels
Yes.
like that Chris was talking about.
Right.
So well done. And
I
the way,
know.
like, the circles come up, and even how we were saying the book is nonlinear, so it's very circular.
Right.
Um, we see concentric circles a million
Yeah.
times. We see
Yeah.
rings, all these different rings, and,
Right.
um
And concentric is repeated repeatedly throughout the book as well. So,
And what really gets me about concentric is like it's not a spiral, it's concentric. You know what I'm saying? Because a
right.
lot of times people will structure a book so that but it's still circling around a
Mm.
center point, and like that
Mm.
center point may come anywhere in the book, but this wasn't. This wasn't that. It was
No.
actually concentric circles,
Yeah.
and like sometimes the loops were very tighter, and that's in the center of the tree, and so you're gonna get
Mm.
3 poems that's all talking about the same thing, sort of, where they all talk to each other. But then
Mm.
sometimes you're on the outside rings of the tree, and the end of the book is talking to the beginning of the book.
Right.
And that's also,
Yes.
again, that's why the last word of the book goes to revisit, and revisit on
Mhm.
page 131. I think the
Mhm.
other revisit, or at least one of the revisit, no, I think it's maybe the reinvent. Maybe it's the second reinvent,
Mhm.
comes right off of like talking about a Sankofa bird. And I was
Mm.
like, okay, you know what? I see you. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm.
It's on page 23.
Uh-huh.
Um, to feel something, to remember a place Sankofa by the drumming of OGs, and this is where they come to be alone with me. And that, continues, but then at the end of that kind of section is a revisit. And I think there's another Sankofa in there that's close to a revisit or a reinvent as well. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like we just got to keep going back to these ideas and these characters and these formats because we're going to get more out of it when we come back to it. It's again, the book is basically begging you to read it at least twice.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In
It
fact,
is.
I definitely am going to read it again.
It's also kind of a weirdly quick read.
Yeah, it is.
So like you can read it
is.
twice. It's almost like to read it
Right.
once, you kind of have to read it twice.
Exactly.
I'm wondering, like, on the first read, I don't know about for you guys, but in these sections where there's like, throughout the whole book, where there's like a word bank or like, I don't know what it is. It's just like a bunch of words. I was like, I don't
Oh, was it the
particularly know
recipe?
what's happening. No, not the recipe. Okay, let me find one.
Okay.
Page 12
Okay.
was the first one. And I was like, because
Oh, okay.
that was the first one where I was like, what's happening here? Monsters, vampires, mortals, mermaids, because there is like a blank.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens a bunch more times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if it's going to make more sense to me the second or third read. Because,
Yeah.
that comes up again, page 22,
Mm-hmm.
but different words are taken out. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you guys had any ideas of what that was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I absolutely. To me, it was a fill in the blank. The first time I read it, I was like, so it's both. So on page 12, we both have their telepathy, their knowing, their dreaming, their underline. And we also have a some size, some scream, some sing, some spit, some slay underline. And to me, it was like some slay monsters, vampires, mortals, mermaids, witches.
Right.
But
Right.
also their telepathy, their knowing, their dreaming, their monsters, their babies, their animals, their mortals, their mermaids, their witches, their, you know what I mean? Like that was immediately what I thought of it. And I think it was almost this idea of there was a lot of fill in the blank and a lot of crossing out that felt like it was telling us like you're gonna want to think in this direction, but in this world, don't think that. Think any one of these things because any one of them is true. Or sometimes with the cross out, it's like, no, don't think this. Think this very specific other thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Totally.
That was one of
guiding
my
us.
favorite devices. The first time I saw the underline, and it was the underline with the cross out with the word bank, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, parallel universes. This sentence ends 400 different ways.
Yes. Oh my God.
It's like a choose your own adventure, but also
Right.
I'm guiding you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Chris.
Which is very
Yeah.
like goddess to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, listen, we all find our own way. You know what I'm saying? There's many journeys, but also on this, where you thought you was gonna read Jesus Christ, you reading Lucille in this book because in this book, a Black woman is God.
Oh my God. There was another thing that really stayed with me as well. It was the definition of a village. And I don't know if it's because when I grew up in a village, when I lived in Trinidad, and it definitely, that definition of a village is very true. I'm looking for it right now. Where is it? And then also street. No, not that one. Not that one. Yes. A village, a self-contained cluster or community. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, that is a village. That is a village, man. Seriously. So yeah, that's so, and it's so beautiful. Like it's just
Speaking of that, one of the other sections, I'm trying to find it, but one of the other sections, is this it? Boom. I think I just got there. One one of the other sections that really got me, I think, was from Prospect on page 57. I just love these moments where it's like we're in this fantasy universe, but like these are just very recognizable Black people, which I think is as told by Bloody Mary 3 on behalf of the Prospect women. And this whole monologue is just about how like we over here on Prospect on 27th Street, we bad motherfuckers on 27th Street. We rep 27th Street hard, period. And it's just like, because like, it was also like some of the streets and intersections seemed to be like in different universes, and like it was different Lucille's that was the gods of or the rulers of that particular universe / block. And so it was like so mystical, but also so, it's so underground and so up in like the theory, upper atmosphere at the same time. And that's what that really got me. That
Yeah.
really got me.
Yeah. Like, every auntie is a DJ and a dancer. Every big brother is a father. Every father is a barber. Every mother is preparing offerings for Lucille. Every other wearing white and jingling 5 pennies, 9 dimes, and two silver coins. Oh my God. Yeah. Re-
And it was also uh on that same page, like, we love ourselves so much we say our own names 3 times in the mirror.
Yeah, I
And
love that.
also, motherfuckers do be reading around here. And when she went into the whole, it honestly reminds me of one of Iman's poems. It reminds me of that mother tongue poem where she's like, I'm saying do be to you. Well, I understand. I can also do this. I can also do that. I can also do the third. I speak
Yeah.
many different languages. And that just like,
Right.
it's also like, it's such a, that was also so recognizable to me, like in terms of the details. Like it's a certain type of pride that Black people will take in being able to speak in every dialect and register of English. Like, no,
Right.
we do read over here. We actually know shit.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's just not that that's the only kind of pride, but that's like, it just felt like, yes, that is exactly what like the spirit of that particular kind of Black person. That's like, yes, we read, we understand things, we're knowledgeable. Okay, we can speak whatever register of English you want us to speak, blah, 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 blah. And we do be making fun of 30th Street because 30th Street sucks. It was just so, that was what worked for
Oh my
me the
God.
most, were the moments where like, if I wanted to, I could take it in this very metaphysical way. But also if I wanted to, it was just like, meet a character that came from your life. This
Yeah.
is what they sound like in the language of this book.
Right.
Yeah, it was a really grounding moment for me in all of the headiness of the book. It
Yeah.
was very grounding because, yeah, like you said, I could feel it being teeth sucking hot. All of that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we're getting close to the end here. I just wanted to see do you guys have any parting words for this experience that we had with this book? For me, I'm just like wowed, just like completely wowed, and I loved it so much. I'm definitely gonna read it again. So Aman, wanna go?
I just really enjoyed it. And I'm really looking forward to picking Anastasia's brain. But yeah, like you said, I am really excited to reread it. I've reread parts of it, but to just start all over again, I think is going to be really dope to experience, especially after these conversations.
Huh.
But yeah, this was just a really beautiful piece of work, honestly.
Chris?
2 things. I wanted to just read from the last kind of full poem on page 130. Just when they said, When the water greeted us, it is true we did not greet her back, as we were in such a hurry to be kept by her. And isn't it true Black goddesses get tired of not being acknowledged, of not getting a chance to say with permission and authority, you are welcomed here. And that
Yeah.
really, that was my like big. And again,
Yeah.
it's at the end, he's coming back and explaining what's happening at the beginning, where we are being welcomed into the book. And it's the authority of a writer, but it's also the authority of a goddess. But it's also like just a real life Black woman thing, you
Right.
know, like
Yeah.
not being afforded the respect of getting to define the rules of a space. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like how everything works on like 12 different levels, some of which are like the metaphysics of a cosmos that we haven't been to before. That really got me. And the other thing that really got me from this is like the lesson I'm going to take away as a writer is um when you trust your reader, you can ask for them to trust you back, but also trust themselves. Because what this discussion really revealed to me was like, oh, I spent half this book being afraid of the book, but actually I got it. Like actually I followed it the whole way. And I just felt like I didn't. But the
Right.
book trusted me that I
Right.
followed. So if the book can trust me that I'm following, then I can trust myself and like, oh, I am receiving what I'm supposed to be receiving from this book. And so that was empowering to me as a reader, and also a goal to strive for as a writer, to have the clarity even through unusual or unfamiliar devices, so that the reader is rewarded for trusting me as a writer by getting to trust themselves as a reader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, seriously, that is so true. Like what you just said there, totally break it down because I think I too was feeling very scared about this. I was just like, am I right by thinking this? Is this really happening? Maybe I'm wrong here. So yeah, so totally. And what you said about the book trusting us is such a representation of Anastacia trusting her readers, or even understanding that who will get it will find it. Basically that she was writing for the people who will find it, and that's it. That's all that there is. Well, at least I believe that. So yeah, yeah, wow. Man, I can't wait for Thursday, honestly. Chris, I am so sorry you're not gonna be there. But yeah, I know. But yeah, I just can't wait. This is gonna be like, wow, yeah, this is already making my week. Just spectacular. All right. All right. So thank you all again. Like seriously, this was so dope.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Aman, I'll see you on Thursday.
Nope.
And Chris, please do not be a stranger. Definitely, like, reach out. If you have any readings happening, let me know. I'll show up. So we'll share links to Kavi Kanam in the notes for this show. Once again, Kavi Kanam is amazing. It actually cultivates and uplift BIPOC poets. So you need to check that out as well. Thank you so much to my guests. You all are amazing. And stay tuned for more. Thanks for listening to When We See Each Other. I'm your host, Nikkiesha McLeod. This show is produced and edited by Jeremiah McVeigh. If you like what you hear in the show, please rate and review it in Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else that allows that. And please follow us wherever you happen to listen to podcasts. Doing so helps us to expand our audience and is much appreciated. You can find more information about this show at stereoactivemedia.com/whenweseeeachother. And you can get in touch with us at stereoactivemedia@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Instagram and TikTok under the handle WWSEO Pod. Talk to you later.
This podcast is produced by Stereoactive Media.